Welcome back. This is episode 2. It's really a hot day up here in Vermont, and because it's a very cold climate up here, I'm not used to it at all, but I want to try to get out my podcast today, or my I don't know why I call it a podcast, my YouTube broadcast today. Oh, excuse me. Episode 2 today, and this is where I start to talk about that psychic voice that I heard, where I said I heard a voice that was not of my own origin. And that led me to start to meditate again. And this morning I posted a little, I called it episode 2, Bodh Gaya, and I take you to the place of the Buddha's enlightenment. And this is really important for my third meditation, because I saw something in my third meditation from Bodh Gaya, and it's such an incredible place. It's a place of amazing peace because everyone is there to meditate and all these things. But I'm not like boosting one religion in this. I'm boosting all religions because I have respect for all people. But Bodh Gaya is a fascinating place. So if you watch that, you'll hear the words of Brajesh Kumar, who gave me an unsolicited but very meaningful lesson in meditation. I had tried meditation since college and different techniques and things over the years, but I never really broke through until I was up with Brajesh, who's a real master. I mean, he lives a life that's so methodical that he's conscious of all the things he's doing in the world. And it's fascinating. And then a hardship hit my life. My wife and I separated, and I went to an apartment in Burlington, Vermont for a while, for 11 months. And for those 11 months, I made it a discipline to meditate every single night for at least 30 minutes. And it's the repetitiveness that really helps in learning meditation and getting past what Brajesh called the monkey mind. And that's that mind full of thoughts that you obsess upon every day. And once you can rid yourself of that, you can focus on breathing and existing, basically. And so I'm going to tell you a story, and it's going to lead to me. I had taken some time off of meditation to just have to meditate, to calm my mind, to kind of, what happened to it was the psychic experience that I keep talking about. And the story goes like this. The clips you're seeing of Whiteboard, I was trying to put into a feature film, but it's to encapsulate that into a feature-length film and tell the story with so many diverse thoughts and everything. It's really better suited for episodes on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to bringing those out. But I was failing at making a decent film with them, and I was very frustrated about it in February of 2021. And when I get frustrated, I call my friend Steve Erlenborn. We call him Earl. All the guys on the basketball team used to, and it stuck. He's a very bright guy. He's a very empirical thinker. He's a good skeptic. We all need skeptics in our lives to make us think about what we're saying and all these things. And he's very good to bounce things off. And I had been sending him my movie, and he'd been dutifully watching some early cuts and things like that. And so I called Steve, and I was telling him about living in Barton. And since now I've been separated from my wife for, I think it's 8 years now. It's a complicated story as to why we are still married, but it's a legal issue in concerning our house. But I've found a person called Lisa, and you'll see in this story names are really important. Lisa, it was my witness to what happened when the meteor strike and these things. So she was, oh my God, I've got a fly in here and I can hear it. I had to cut because a bunch of flies somehow got in here. I told you last night we had problems with the crickets. Tonight I have flies coming in, so you might hear a fly buzzing around. I can actually hear them now. But I do have the electric fly swatter. Hopefully we can get it by the end of the broadcast. But I was saying about Lisa. So the hating begin. Looks, I love Christine and my wife, and I don't mean to hurt anybody, and all these things. We just have to work out. You know, we're not very compatible. So maybe that's why the fly is flying around, because it's a sticky subject to talk about these things. But in Barton, I was telling him about Lisa, because Lisa had a very interesting life and a lot of different businesses, but she does she does like card readings, and she looks into what's called human design, which is exact like mapping out of your channels in your life and all these things. And I find it fascinating. And in the first episode, I featured Ralph Smart, and I had recorded him in Venice and just thought he was a very articulate guy to meet on the beach, but Lisa recognized him from the internet. But I was telling Earl about Lisa and how she seems to have a certain psychic ability of her own, because I'll be thinking something like lumber, and I'll go downstairs and she'll say, hey, you know, I really need to get a certain plank or board. Can we go to the lumber? You know, that's probably a bad example, but she fills in my sentences like Radar O'Reilly used to do to, who was it, Colonel Blake on the old MASH show, and we knew that Radar was actually running the camp, if you ever watched that very old show. But I don't mean to digress, because then what happened was, Earl said to me, oh, I don't believe in all that stuff and all that. And I have a story that I tell people who, sorry, it's like really hot and humid here in Vermont today. And I just want to press on with these every day and try to get my material out there. So you're going to see a lot of episodes coming your way, because I really want to tell this story, because I need to find out for myself how people will react and what people out there know about these sort of things. And so it started then. I told a story that has really been my story, a really incredible story. The day my daughter was born, we didn't have a name picked out for her, and this was in July of 2007. And so she's now just turned 15. But, so I've told the story. I had told it for 14 years before I told it to Earl. And so she was born like around 7 p.m. and here in Vermont in July at 7 p.m. it's still very light. I had to go out and let our dogs out and check on the house and everything like that from the hospital. And on the way, I kept hearing Natalie Wood, the name of the actress, over and over and over in my head. And I was even saying it out loud. I was saying, Natalie Wood, Natalie Wood. And it was like the most bizarre experience. And it was so persistent that I had to tell Christine about it when we got back to the hospital. Now, I was not a Natalie Wood fan. I had only seen parts of a made-for-TV version of From Here to Eternity with William Devane that I saw. I saw maybe like a half hour of that. I think I saw the beach scene. And when I was really young, like 4 or maybe 3 even, I don't know, my parents had a sitter for me in New York City in a hotel room, I remember. I was left in a hotel room and the TV was on, and the movie Miracle on 34th Street was playing, and I didn't see the whole movie. I knew it was Santa, and in the last year I've tried to watch a bunch of Natalie Wood movies because of what happened after this, and the name Natalie Wood, and I hadn't thought about it until I told Earl this story in February. You know, I hadn't really gone further in exploring who Natalie Wood was. I just told this story over and over, that I kept hearing Natalie Wood's name, and then I went back to the hospital and I told Christine, I said, the funniest thing, I keep hearing Natalie Wood in my head. And she wanted to name our daughter Nicole, and we had a baby name book right there, and Nicole and Natalie are very close together in the baby name book. So I flipped over to Natalie, and I saw it meant born at Christmas time, and this was in mid-July, so I thought to myself, oh, well, that name's not gonna, work at all. And then I guess the name Natalie derives itself from the same root as the nativity and and these sort of things. So I and then I thought to myself, oh yeah, and Natalie Wood was the child star in Miracle on 34th Street, which was a Christmas movie featuring Santa, and he does the Macy's parade and everything like that. So I thought to myself, wow, wouldn't it be funny if Natalie Wood was actually born at Christmas time? So I I did a little search for Natalie Wood, and her birthday was July 20th, 1938. The day of my daughter's birth is July 20th, 2007. So it was, I was hearing Natalie Wood's name over and over on Natalie Wood's birthday, which was my daughter's birthday. And it blew Christine and I away. And we named our daughter Natalie, actually after Natalie Wood, the movie star from the 50s and 60s mainly. And Earl was, the skeptic was like, wow, that's a pretty amazing story. The interesting thing about July 20th also is, in this story, the moon figures in a lot, twins figure in a lot, water, tides figure in a lot, and July 20th is the day that that man landed on the moon. Apollo 11 landed on the moon. So I hung up the phone with Earl, who was really amazed about this story, and it kind of blew his mind. A skeptic, he couldn't, it is kind of like a wow coincidence story. So much that I've told that story maybe 100-something times over the last 15 years, and a lot more lately. And oh man, it is, I have to tell you, it is like so hot in here, but I got to get it out. So please excuse me. I hope I don't stop you from watching future episodes. The last episode went a lot more smoothly. I don't even know whether I'll keep that in or not. But anyway, I want to get my Natalie Wood story out there as fast as I can. So I hung up the telephone with Steve, and I opened my iPad, and I had left the HBO Max app open, and they have suggested For You tiles underneath the main movie title, and right there was a movie called Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind. And I was like, no way, there's a new documentary from 2020 on Natalie Wood. And so I clicked on it, and what I saw on that documentary completely blew my mind. I mean, what made me sit up bolt upright first was the fact that Natalie Wood had broken her wrist and had a protruding bone. She is right-handed, and she broke her wrist and has a protruding bone on her left hand. And in the movie, it said she covered it with bracelets. Now, I'm going to go back to the very beginning of the movie now, but that was what made me go, whoa, are you kidding? Because I have, let's see if I can get the right angle on it, I have a really big protruding bone here. You can see there. You see how that sticks out? When I was just moved to Illinois from North Carolina in 5th grade, I didn't know gymnastics. I tried to do a handspring in gym class at the beginning of the year. I was 10 and a half, and I broke my wrist, and the doctor said it wrong. And Natalie Wood, she broke her wrist on the set of a movie called The Green Promise. And I was like, wow, that is really amazing. And over the course of doing my book, I mean, I'm going to give you a teaser because this is really kind of the end of this episode. I just wanted to tell the Natalie Wood story, but I'm going to delve into details a lot deeper. But here's a really amazing thing about Natalie Wood, her name and her family's names. So Natalie Wood, it said in the documentary, has an older sister, Olga. Now, my world's sort of opposite. Like I said, I broke my right wrist with the protruding bone, wherever you can see it there. And she broke she broke her left wrist. And Olga is a name for me synonymous with gymnastics because in the 1972 Olympics, Olga Korbut just took the world. I remember watching it because I was watching the Olympics. I was a swimmer, and I was watching Mark Spitz win 7 gold medals, and then we watched Olga Korbut perform, and she was incredible. So her name was synonymous with gymnastics, and I broke my wrist in 1975, and Olga Korbut suffered an injury before in 1975 in training for the 1976 Olympics in Montreal, which is not, it's only 2 hours from here. And Olga Korbut lost to Nadia Comaneci. But here's the interesting thing about the name Olga and gymnastics. I broke my wrist doing gymnastics. Natalie Wood broke her wrist on a broken prop of a bridge on a movie called The Green Promise, and she fell into black water on a dark set, and she broke her wrist when she fell, and it was set wrong. And my older brother is named Douglas, and Douglas means black water. So I can't ever tell you what it's like to hear a name like that in your head. Enough to name your daughter that. But that my daughter is named after Natalie Wood should be proof to you that I'm not really fooling around with this story. This isn't like a fictional tale or anything. These are going to be very verifiable facts. And so stay tuned for the next episode because I'm going to really explore what happened when I watched the movie Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind.